vision of who we are must change in our mind first. Now our eyes are open and vision is becoming clearer with every new day. This will only turn out well when we are committed to continuing the process of recognition and appreciation for who we are. No more downplaying our greatness, no more allowing our ideas to self destruct in our own minds before they have an opportunity to develop and be displayed for all to see. We are worth it. Say it out loud. I am worth it. Are you present?
What is it about?
Well, right now I am actually engaged in teaching a 10-week course. We started right before Thanksgiving. Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m., myself and a group of individuals get together and we go through what it means to be present. But it's more than just a 10-week course. It is a course of action for our lives. And what is a course? A course is a roadmap. You know, we see agility courses, we see, regular academic courses, but there is always a path that has to be taken for us to be successful. And that's what I mean when I say it's more than just a 10-week course. Stories to us about us, the things that we may not understand, or the things that we want clarity on as to what are we to do with this gift? What am I to do on a daily basis to get me further into your purpose? So we thank you for allowing us to hear your voice by using my voice to speak and bring clarity for all of us. Thank you. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen. So I was listening to this clip this morning, and not a clip, actually a daily devotional kind of thing, and it was amazing because it was perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect in what it is saying. And I just want to play a little bit of it for you all to experience what I heard, and knowing that didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It was divinely placed for our hearing.
Psalm 37, verse 23. The steps of...
And we will not be listening to the whole thing. I know you see this 35 minutes up here. We won't be listening to no more than 60 seconds of it.
A good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Have you ever tried putting together a jigsaw puzzle without the picture on the box? At first, you have a pile of pieces that don't seem to fit together. You start sorting, trying to make sense of it all, matching colors and connecting edges. But as you move along, you reach a point where nothing seems to fit, and you're left staring at the pieces, wondering how they could possibly come together to form a complete picture. Life can feel like that puzzle. We have pieces, our hopes, dreams, relationships, and daily decisions. But sometimes it feels impossible to see how they fit into the bigger picture. We long for clarity and direction, wishing someone could show us how it all comes together.
Well, hopefully throughout this part of the process on your journey, we'll have it figured out for this portion of life. Now, when we grow, I must say that when we grow, things begin to happen and we continue to do it on a perpetual basis. And that's almost the scary part because once you start growing, you will always have that reference point, and so it will propel you to want to go further. And so that's why you see what millionaires, most people would probably think, why do they go to work every day? Well, because they have this perpetual drive. I call it an eternal drive because we are spiritual, eternal beings. Yes, this flesh, it dies, but our spirit does not. And so it's continual. So when we decide to say, you know what, I am going to go on this journey full force and make sure that anything that I was supposed to do while I was here was done to the best of my ability. Maybe we're not going to accomplish everything, no, because like I said, it's eternal. So this flesh will not be living eternally. But I just want to know if you can put it in the chat. If you opened the syllabus, if you did, cool. If you didn't, cool. we'll just look at it a little bit. And it talks about why we're here. Well, and how are we going to get to the next place? We will learn that this is part of what it says. We'll learn that we need to be able to see from more than one position. If we all go to the same window, there are going to be 10 different views because we're all looking out of 10 different lenses. And the lenses have been put through a process of experience in life, and we're all in different places. So because of that, we're going to see different. We're going to think different. We don't all have the same plight in life. Everybody on here is not doing hair. That's the first thing that came to mind. So, but there are people on here, we're doing various things. So we have to make sure that we are able to see from different points. And guess what? We have to make sure that we are able to see and be cognizant, be aware of the different points of life that we are in. Some of us are entrepreneurs and we are moms and grandmoms and we're wives and we're students and we're teachers and we have all of these things that we are currently. And whether you say, well, I'm not teaching like you are, Stacy, right now, no, but you're teaching people every day. There are little people in your lives and some not so little. They're growing up, but they're still in our lives for the purpose of learning from us right now. They're going to glean from us because they're in our atmosphere. But let's move on. Seeing from more than one position, not just looking to see one way, but seeking through insight versus only the human ability to see a wide view. What does that mean? Through insight, we have to be able to look inward because everything that we need is inside of us. Every single thing, every idea, every process. And you know what? the very interesting thing about life processes is that we may have the same goal, but we may not have the same process of getting there. So that's the biggest reason why we cannot look at somebody else's life and make comparison, because we don't all walk on the same path. We may get some of the same things accomplished, but we don't all go walk on the same path to get these things accomplished. So, all righty. Moving a little further, insight. We have insight. We know who we are. We have to learn these things too along the way. We know how we'll react to certain things, and if they're not things that are, I don't know, I'll say good, then we know that there may be a chance that we might need to make changes, and we also need to be present enough to see that right away, because as life goes on, the emotional part of us doesn't necessarily change. We decide that we won't allow the emotion to dictate how we behave. That's another part of insight. That's a part of the big picture, because we know, wait a minute, in the past, I may have done this to accommodate a person, but it didn't make me feel like I was on the winning team. So I couldn't make that accommodation the way they thought I should. And that would frustrate us on the inside. And so we in life, it'll come back around. And we have to say, wait a minute, I gotta change something. Something's gotta give. Insight. This is when we start to learn about who we are, and making sure that when we learn about who we are, when these things show up in the present moment, that we are able to either one, use it to navigate, or dismiss it, and don't let it linger around, because it will then cause us maybe to behave in a way that it make it more difficult to put these puzzle pieces together, because it's a puzzle. Life's a puzzle. This way we're not limiting life and how broad the spectrum of how we can see will be in life if we're present. Present awareness, it almost gives this keen sense of, like, spidey senses that just come up. For me, I get a little feeling in my gut sometimes, like, oh, wait a minute, what was that? That whatever it was is, let me pay attention to the moment. We have to pay attention to the moment. We're just going through the syllabus. We're not in the book right now. Well, we sort of kind of are, because this came out of the book. However, paying attention is so key. Paying attention to your body. Like I said, I realize that I get a little nudge in my gut. Sometimes it's a little more than a nudge. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to really pay attention to this. And I have to stop and obey my body at that moment. Now, don't get me wrong, the body can take us off course if we're listening to it the wrong way. There's some things that the body will tell you that are not beneficial for you. So that's how we'll look at it. That will be our litmus tool to know, is this a check that I need to pay attention to, or is this something that I need to check? Because sometimes your body will say, oh, no, it's okay. You don't have to do thus and so. When we know all well and good that if we don't do the thus and so, whatever we are trying to accomplish is not going to happen. Yep, I paused there for a moment to let that sink in. Life has more than one point, and we need to be aware of the points. I said that a little bit earlier, a different way. That we are to the points that we are to follow. Showing the way at every stage and moment in life, the present. So, to some learning objectives, understanding of me. We get to understand who we are, and guess what? And be okay with who we are. And if whatever it is that is not okay in your opinion and then you're the only one who has the ability to change it. But the course of learning objectives, understanding of me. We get to understand who we are because I think I've been talking to a few people and not just walking up to people and start talking, just conversation happens and they're all kind of going the same direction. Like, you know what? Really not sure about where I am right now. And it's okay because now you've taken a step to say, I am going to understand where I am right now. That is the goal. Understanding you. How to stay present in this understanding because life can come and throw so many things at you that we'll get distracted and forget to pay attention. And then next thing we know, it's like, wait a minute, I didn't realize that was even happening around me. But it was all the time. Or we just decided to not stay present enough to care about ourselves and want to remedy something that we know that is not, again, I'll use the word beneficial. There's a scripture that Paul says that all things may be permissible, meaning that, there's some things in life that go on. No, they're not illegal. No, they're not really um, bad in the sense of the word. However, they're detrimental to futures. Like having to be in a situation that doesn't make you feel great. And that doesn't mean that life is about to come to an end, but let's figure out how this thing can turn around so that I can feel better about me. Because that's the reason that you got up. Not the full reason, no, but it was the reason that you got up to because there was something that you needed to offer for that day. That's why you got up. You woke up because there's something that you need to offer for this day, but you have to make sure that you're present enough to even know what that is. And if there's stuff that keeps showing up that says this is what you're needed for in this day, that's maybe not the most accurate assessment of your being beneficial for the day. I hope that makes sense. I wanted to say it how I felt it, but we have to make sure that what we came to bring to the earth for this day, I always refer back to scripture because that's what helps me. And because it's this day we've received our daily bread, our substance, to make sure that we had the ability to accomplish what it is that we're supposed to accomplish for today. But if there's stuff, like I said, dictating to us what we're supposed to do, that may not be the most beneficial for us to do on that day. Wow. I hope that got through. How does being present change my life? Well, I kind of just explained it a little bit right there. We're here for a reason. And yes, the reasons they shift and they vary, and that's where I think that a lot of us are in right now, in the shifting and the varying. And I wanted to start out, instead of just jumping right into the book, I wanted to start out with, let's do an evaluation. Might walk away with some homework. Let's do an evaluation. Let's open up and do a self inventory. This is written in the book. Let's open up and do a self inventory, better yet, an analysis and observation of who you are right now, to see if it's aligning with this next thing that I want to encourage us to do as a homework assignment, and that's to write your personal mission statement, your life's mission statement. Mine is to guide others through their journey so they get continually so they continually and successfully reach self-actualization. When what I'm doing right now, prayerfully being the best guide that I can be to help not just you, but me too, get to the next place that we're supposed to be, self actualization, when we realize who we are. And I believe that we do that many, many times over, because we, like I said, we continue to grow. We weren't, or should I say, we're not 2 years old anymore. We're not two, we're not 10, we're not 20, some of us. So you get what I'm saying? We continue to grow, so we should continue to reach stages. I posted something a little, I think it was yesterday or maybe this morning. I don't remember. But it says that life is a continual process. And I'm looking down, looking at my phone here because I want to read it verbatim so I don't mess it up. But I guess I can't really mess it up because it was my own words. It says life is a continual process. Let's make sure we take the steps to live an abundant life, fulfilling purpose. It's a continual process. We have to keep growing, not just keep going. We have to keep growing. So let's open up to and do this self inventory. There's a reason why we want to take time to evaluate life. It's important. Simple fact is, it's important. It allows us to assess our current path. Where are we right now? Does it align with our values and our goals? That's why I said about writing that personal mission statement, because it will help us stay on track. Am I going towards this goal, or have now I jumped over into another lane and trying to achieve something else? Well, I think it's easiest if we just stay focused. We identify areas that need improvement, make conscious choices about where to focus, where to put my energy. Where should I put it today? Sometimes when I exercise, I have to say, well, am I just going to do yoga today? Which, don't sleep on yoga. It is extremely hard sometimes. I told my instructor one time, I said, I was delightfully exhausted. And I must like that word because it's going to come up later if we get to it today. But yeah, but, and then I say, am I going to run? But there's got to be where should I focus my energy on particular days? You know, especially with the body changing And some days it's just not beneficial to run because it could cause aggravation to something else. So it's not beneficial. But yoga is. And then guess what? I'm still reaching the same goal of having movement in my body in the form of exercise. That's the goal. It's just how we can go about things different. We can, ooh, that was good right there. We can reach the same goal, but we can take different methods to get there. I didn't say path. I specifically said method because we're specifically on a path. We all have our own path, but we don't all have the same methods. And ultimately, once we figure out where to put our energy, we'll be more fulfilled because we make necessary changes and say, you know what? I'm fulfilling now. I'm fulfilling life now. I am living more vital. Yeah, that's a good word. Vitality is showing up and not just humdrum every day. I'm going through the same monotonous day. No, we begin to spring up and begin to look vibrant and say, okay, you know what, maybe I may not like this part of the process that I have to do, but because I am so enjoying life now, I am um, happy to get up and go do this arduous task. So we have some reasons that we need to evaluate where we are. The reason, not number one, but a reason, we have to identify areas that where we need to grow. You know, we don't get to certain levels and not have anything mm, out of place, should I say. We don't get to certain levels and we're perfect. No. We have stuff that we still need to work on. At least I know I do. For sure. And as long as I believe that as long as we're breathing, yep, we're going to have to make sure that we make adjustments. And the next thing I want to say that we have to make sure that it aligns. Again, everything has to align. I was walking or running the other day and I realized that my knee and foot were trying to go in opposite directions. I was like, well, wait a minute. This is not how this is supposed to align. And so when I went back to my yoga class, I asked the instructor about alignment and we talked about it a little bit. And it's really important for us to pay attention to what is called our gait, GAIT. That is the stability as we walk. Is it, are we walking sideways, crooked, one foot going one way, another foot going another way? Or are we walking on a stable and steady path, our body? Or is it, lopsided, this side, that side? And it's important for us to make sure that not only do our bodies align, because I want to make sure that I'm able to run or walk or do whatever I want to do for as long as I'm here. And I plan for that to be a long time. So paying attention to it, though, gave me the opportunity, the awareness that I received that this was going on when I saw it through observation and making sure that everything was in alignment for me to grow in my exercise routines. I had to say, what can I do to fix it? What changes do I need to make? From that small evaluation of me watching my foot and my knee, it became something that was very important for the stability of my body. Paused again on purpose. On purpose. I wanted that to sink in. I wanted that to sink in. We have to make sure that our life is aligning with our values. If we know that there's some things that we want to accomplish and what we're doing is not aligning with it, then we need to find out what can we do to make adjustments, because that's what my massage therapist did. She made adjustments to my hip, knee, and foot. Yes. And it boosts happiness. When I left there, this is what happens when we get aligned and we begin to be aware and present. We begin to feel um, things rejuvenate in our body. I think one time I posted, and you all are probably, you'll hear me say a lot when I post it, because I do post a lot, just because things come to my mind and I believe that I should share these things and to help the world change their behaviors. So, what was I saying? Oh, boost in happiness, just getting these endorphins and these happy juices, the serotonins and the things that make us feel better, the natural things that make us feel better. We're like, man, I'm moving and moving and moving. I didn't even realize that I was up doing these things. When we begin to flow in our purpose, and my acronym for flow that God gave me is fully living, overtly winning. Fully living, overtly winning. When we do evaluations, guess what? It prevents stagnation. It allows us to fully live and overtly win. I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready to win all the time. It improves our decision making process. And when our decision making process is improved, that means that guess what? We learned. We got it. We learned the lesson. And now our choices are different and they're better, and that makes us be able to accomplish more and get further into the goal that we want to achieve. Yes, we get to build resilience. This is a key factor in life. Resilience is, I call it that internal strength demonstrated outwardly. But we'll talk about resilience a whole lot more in this class. I am positively sure, because it's a place that I understand that is greatly needed for us to remain present in life and not shut down. Well, now let's move forward a little bit more to the book. Are you present? We're not going to go through much of it today, but I just want to talk a little bit about um, the introduction of it, actually. But I want to talk about the word awareness, which can be synopsis for present, being aware. But you have to have awareness. And what is that? It's a word that is made up, the meaning having knowledge or perception of something. How many times have we had knowledge of something and our perception of it was skewed? Our perception of what we heard made us think, oh, something to the effect of, I can't do that. Well, today we're changing our perception. The word awareness, the root word of it is aware, which is signifying the state of noticing or understanding something. Woo. What is the state? The state is, let's look at it from this standpoint, the state of the mindset that received that information. So, what is the state of your root? What is the state of the place where you are noticing and understanding? What is the state of it? Is it in a good state? Is it in a good place? I have two questions. Are you present in your awareness? Are you in the place that exists now? Or have you jumped out of it because you don't want to deal with it? I'll stop and pause right there again. It's almost like when the teacher says you're going to have a quiz on something. There are no quizzes in this class, but my teachers used to knock on the desk. I don't know if you can hear that, but knocking on the desk to make you become aware and pay attention to that particular thing. And see, my perception is later on there'll be a test. Yes. I hope y'all heard what I said, because I'm sure just because you're sitting here listening and taking in this information, later on there's going to be a test. And it's just the test of whether or not what we hear in our heart and believe in our mind are connected. And we say, I'm going to be present in my life. Ooh. State is a place, a sense of being present in our awareness means to be in a position that keeps us in our life sequence that causes the best conclusions to happen for us. Ooh, when I wrote that, I was like, wow. I'm going to read it again because I think it was pretty good. Place is a sense that being present in our awareness means to be in a position that keeps us in our life sequence that causes the best conclusions to happen for us. I read a little while ago that life is a continual process. That's the sequence. There's a sequence that happens. And there's a sequence that happens that could take us off track of being present, being aware. And there's a sequence that keeps us on track. That's because we are going back to what I said earlier, and we're opening up to do this self-inventory and analysis, and better yet, an observation of our life. I believe that God put us, excuse me, let me go back to my note. Life sequence that causes the best conclusions to happen for us. We will continually find ourselves in our distinguished place. I find myself here often. I can be out in a store. I can be in an Uber, many places. And I always seem to find myself teaching. That's because that's who I am. And now that I am accepting of it, I'm good. And I'm happy. And I go back to where I was saying earlier, it just gives me this vibrancy that I believe that we can see. But let me just jump right into the introduction real quick. We got about 5 more minutes left here. And the introduction of the book says, have you ever wanted to know something so bad that you could physically feel the tug on your soul? That is how I feel when I sit down to write, or more commonly known to me as, let's go talk to the people. Awareness. Number 1, I'm aware of the language that God uses when he speaks to me. If you're taking notes, I hope you write this down. But are you aware of how God speaks to you? I will never forget the first day God said to me, just go talk to the people through writing. I heard what God said. Then he told me how to do it through writing. I'm a writer. That's what I do. You may not write, but what is your thing that you do? It gave me clarity in my heart and soul, allowing me to gain deeper insight into how to express my true self. That's what makes us happy when we begin to be able to express our true self. Oh my goodness. Watch your just energy levels skyrocket. And then that's when we find ourselves doing things like, for me, when I first started running here in Texas, I probably ran maybe a quarter of a mile and had to stop. Now I'm at a straight 2 miles before I stop. And I probably don't have to stop then. I probably just stop just for the sake of knowing, oh, wait a minute, slow down. No, just kidding. But if my body says continue on, then I'll continue on because it is in alignment. And now it's showing me the places that I need to adjust. Yes. It opened up my ability to see. That's what I wrote here in the side note. Gaining deeper insight. Open up our ability to see our true, authentic self. The authentic me feels at peace and overwhelmed at the same time. Yes, it's possible to have peace and be, here's that word, delightfully nervous, because usually when the feeling of awareness hits, many emotions can flood our thoughts. We have to choose the mood, I wrote down here. When I said, yes, it is possible to have peace and be delightfully nervous. See, I said that in a way where, yeah, I'm nervous when I have to write, just because I want to make sure that I give the best that I could possibly give from me. We can admit we are nervous, but the nervous won't stop us. It will only fuel us. And then it says, when the feeling of awareness, this is why it's so important for us not to be numb. My other book I wrote, um, Don't Let Your Brain Go Numb, Regaining Power Through Resilience, is pretty powerful. Hi there. Join us on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for the Are You Present workshop. See you on Saturday.